Texas Tech under Matt Wells has been an interesting experience so far, and there's not as much fluctuation from their ceiling to their floor, but unfortunately the ceiling appears to have lowered a little bit, and he's hoping that things will be different this year, and it's going to be a fun team to watch. There's a guy coming in that's going to start at quarterback for them. That'll be fun to watch after losing one of their starters in Alan Bowman, who transferred to Michigan. It's going to be interesting to see. The offense kind of took a step back, and the defense took a little bit of a step forward, but really not enough to balance out the step backward from the offense. But there's plenty of talent on this offense to take a step forward, and the top 10 players here are going to play big roles in determining how competitive Texas Tech will be in the Big 12. Number 10 is safety Eric Monroe, former LSU transfer who had 59 tackles with 5 for loss last year. Again, this defense took a step forward, and the secondary is one of the strengths of this defense. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to talk about the guys in front of them a little bit, but the secondary is solid as well. Number 9, Oregon transfer Tyler Shuck, who should take over as a starting quarterback. It didn't work out in Oregon for him, and I mentioned this in the Oregon episode that I wasn't sold that he was the starter. I think that he has the talent to be a good quarterback, but I'm not sold that he has what it takes right now. Maybe Texas Tech will be a good fit for him. Maybe it'll be just what he needs. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do, and he has some weapons that we'll talk about here in a sec that should help elevate his game as well. Number 8, linebacker Rico Jeffers, one of the 3 linebackers that we'll talk about today. Honorable mention on Big 12 last year, just a production monster, 223 tackles in his career, 22.5 for loss. If you need a guy to make a tackle, Jeffers is one of the guys on Texas Tech that can do that. Number 7, guard Weston Wright, 22 games of experience, honorable mention on Big 12. If you're going to bring in a new quarterback or elevate the quarterbacks that you have on roster already, then you're going to need guys to block for them. And Weston Wright is one of the guys we'll talk about today that's going to do just that. Number 6, linebacker Keyshawn Merriweather, second linebacker that we'll talk about. Last year had 75 tackles, 6.5 for loss. Again, if you need a guy to make a tackle, Texas Tech has a handful of guys that are going to be able to do that for you. Number 5, cornerback Demarcus Fields. I mentioned before that this is a talented secondary, one that is, I think, maybe most equipped, at least of any Texas Tech team we've seen in the past 5 to 7 years maybe, that can handle a Big 12 schedule, can handle the talent on offense that they'll face. Now, I'm not going to say that they're going to shut people down, but they definitely have the talent to do that, and Fields will be a guy that's going to help in that regard. Number 4, running back is Rodrik Thompson. This is a guy who a lot of people are high on. They think that he can be an explosive player for them, and now that the starting job is his, with some guys transferring out, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do if they give him a full workload. Number 3, linebacker Colin Schooler. And if you want to talk about production, Colin Schooler is the epitome of that. Everybody remembers his hit on Charlie Brewer last year. That kind of like was his introduction to the Big 12, and it was a hit that's going to be on the highlight reels for a long time. And like I said, talk about production. In his career, he has 376 tackles, 51 tackles for loss, 12.5 sacks, and he's going to add to those. And this is one of the best trios that we're going to see in all of college football. Number 2, center Dawson Deaton, a guy who's super underrated, doesn't get enough love for what he does. Not maybe the most physically talented player, but he definitely gets the job done, and he's not afraid to put you on your butt. So if you're going to over or underestimate what he can do, then do that at your own risk. But this is a guy who can play. Second team All Big 12 last year with 34 games of experience. Number 1, wide receiver Eric Ezukama. Tyler Shuck is going to need a guy to throw to, and this is his guy. First team All Big 12, 748 yards and 6 touchdowns last year. This might not be the explosive offense that we've seen when Cliff Kingsbury was running the show, but there's definitely talent. Like I said, Izugama, Thompson, Shuck, that's a good trio to have. And you got guys like Deaton and Wright up front that can make things happen. Texas Tech might not be a contender for the Big 12 title, but it appears that they have a team that's going to be fun to watch this year.